There's so much opportunity in Vietnam right now, you would be stupid not to come here to try and make a little bit of money. The government is incentivizing foreign investment, tourism is booming, the Vietnamese people are coming out of poverty. If you look at the country as like a broad spectrum and compare it to other Southeast Asian nations, Vietnam is not only the fastest growing country, and that's a fact, but it also is the place with the most potential. In my opinion, Vietnam will be the main contender for Southeast Asian nations in the next 10 years, just based on what the government is doing here and how the economy is shaping up. And that means there's a lot of opportunity for you to come here, build businesses, invest in businesses, but most importantly, investing in real estate and property, which is what this video is about. I want to talk to you guys about my plan to buy my first property in Vietnam, how I'm going to do it, what's involved, and answer some of the questions that were originally on my mind when I first started this process, because a lot of people out there don't have the right information in front of them. And even when you speak to experts right here on the ground, many of them are not actually experts. They'll tell you one thing, but legally you can do another. So if you're new here, my name is Jordan. This channel is all about achieving freedom. And today I'm going to tell you how I plan to buy my first Vietnamese property. So when I first got here, obviously buying a Vietnamese property wasn't the first thing on my mind. I just simply wanted to be in an up and coming country, have access to all the convenience that there is in terms of food, entertainment, beach, city. Where I am right now is in Da Nang, so it's got it all. And yeah, when I came here, it was just about building my online business and focusing on that. But since being here, I've realized that there's plenty of opportunities in real estate. And those opportunities were not available to foreigners a few years ago. But now there's new laws and new regulations that encourage foreigners to invest here. So because of that reason, I see a lot of potential in the country, especially in Da Nang, but throughout the country. So you can come here and do your own research, but I'll walk you through what I know and what I'm planning and how things are based on my own conversations with Vietnamese experts, my own research and things like that. So first and foremost, you can't actually buy and own land here. As far as I'm aware, neither can Vietnamese people themselves, because all the land is owned by the state or the government. But that doesn't mean that you can't make money here in property or real estate. You don't actually have to buy and hold the property for a very long time in order to make money out of it. You can get a return on investment with smart choices. Now, when I was looking at the market, there's obviously different areas in Da Nang, there's different areas in Vietnam. I don't want to talk to you guys about that specifically in this video, but if you've got questions about where to go, where to invest, where the opportunities actually are, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to make a video on it. But in terms of where I am now, I know that Da Nang is a booming place. There's lots of people moving here. The government just recently merged Da Nang, or the province of Da Nang, with another province. I believe it's called Quang Nam. So there's these two massive provinces that have just connected together. Now they have two international airports. You've got a massive coastline and there's heaps of undeveloped land. Plus you've obviously got Hoi An, which is the historical city. A lot of tourists go there. Basically, there's a lot of people coming here, which means that you can buy real estate, you can rent it out, you can buy land, construct buildings, sell them off, you can do renovations, you can have a contracting company here. I mean, the list goes on. If you have an eye for property, you can make a bit of money here. So what most people do when they invest in property is that they'll buy a building and then they'll just rent it out, or they'll buy a unit and then rent out those individual units. That's not something that I intend to do, although that is something that you could do, and in fact the government encourages it. The reason why I'm not going to do that is because I see much more opportunity in actually buying land, constructing buildings, and then selling those buildings with the land use rights of the individual apartments or condos in the building. Of course, it depends on the zoning laws and the opportunities, but that's what I'm looking to do. And the way that you do that as a foreigner is actually quite simple. It requires company setup and some legal processes, something that I don't want to get into in this video, but if it's something that you're interested in, just let me know in the comments below and I'll make a video on it. But most foreigners and most of the Vietnamese real estate agents, they actually don't understand the legal nuances. And in order to get that information, you have to speak to the right people. For example, if you speak to a real estate agent here in Vietnam, as a foreigner, they'll tell you that you cannot own land. And if you buy the land, you can't sell it off with a building on top, which is total nonsense because there's been new laws that have been passed by the government only a few months ago. In fact, I think it was in 2024 that they passed these laws, so it was a little while ago. And so what this tells me is that many of the so-called experts right here on the ground are probably just trained through school or university on certain nuances, and they think that nothing changes. And this happens in every country. I'm not slating the Vietnamese or anything, they're great people, but you just have to consider that if you're coming here to invest in property. So the way that I'm gonna do this is set up a Vietnamese company, and there's a few different options there, because when you have a Vietnamese company, company, you can get an investor visa, there's a business visa, and there's different types depending on how much you want to invest. Right now, I don't know what I'm going to be investing in or how much I'll be investing. I'm just looking for the opportunities. But either way, I'll have to set up a Vietnamese company in order to do that. Once that's done, it's all about finding the plots of land that I want to build on. There's different up and coming areas, and there's obviously tourist areas where there's a lot of people moving to, and there's even economic zones. So I've done a little bit of research on Da Nang itself, and I can see that the northwestern neighborhoods of Lian Chu, I'm probably butchering the name, but I'll put it up on the screen anyway so that you know exactly where I'm talking about. So this area right here is an economic zone because there's a brand new port that's getting built. Now, according to the people that I've spoken to, this economic zone is attracting heaps of foreign direct investment, but you might not see a return for the next 5 or 10 years. Now, I'm not so sure I believe that to be true because I think the government acts on things very quickly. And so if you invest in that area now, I think you'll see a return much quicker. But again, it depends on what you're doing. Residential stuff might be the way forward in that particular area. But from my research, I think it would be much better for you to invest in industrial real estate or even commercial real estate because you're going to have heaps of logistic companies moving there to get close access to the port. And there's also a high-tech industrial zone or something like that being built by the government. So because of that reason, the government is incentivizing people to go there and develop all of the land. So there's a heap of different incentives that you can look at. I've been told that subsidies and incentives are subject to change, but it's something for you to check out. And it's something that I was looking at too. And in fact, if I find an opportunity in that area, that might be one of the first places that I invest into. Now, the other two areas that I looked at, which are the more popular places, the Da Nang city or the main metropolitan area, as well as Son Tra and the touristy areas of An Thong and My An. Now, based on what I know, those areas are a little bit more expensive than the up and coming places like Lian Chu that I just mentioned and the next place that I'm going to talk to you about. So I'm actually not even looking at those areas, but it depends on what you want to do in terms of an investor, what your plan is, how much experience you've got, and of course how much capital you have. If you just want to buy some units and put them on Airbnb, those are probably the areas that you want to look at. But like I said at the beginning of the video, that's not quite my intention at this stage. Of course, if I see an opportunity, that could be a topic for another video, but I don't really want to Airbnb out apartments. I'd rather just build things and then sell them off. But if you're an investor and that's the type of property that you like looking at, definitely look at those two areas because I'm looking more at undeveloped land. I'm actually checking out a place just a little bit south of Son Tra, which I'm definitely not going to try and pronounce. I'll stick it up on the screen now. But this area has heaps of undeveloped land. According to some of the real estate agents that I've spoken to recently, this land is increasing in value rapidly because a lot of the Vietnamese want to move here. It's close to the city, it's close to the ocean, and it's not far from all the tourist areas. So any of the Vietnamese that are coming to Da Nang to work or set up a business in these high traffic areas are probably going to be looking at this area to live in. Now, the thing with Da Nang is if you're a brand new property developer or investor, you're actually getting into the market a little bit late. There are plenty of other places throughout Vietnam where you can be one of the first movers. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments below and I can make a video on the different places that you can be investing in and why. Because the cool thing about Vietnam is that the government has structured the country in a way where certain areas are going to be developed for industrial stuff, commercial stuff, residential stuff. They've got economic zones and it's just a little bit different to what I'm used to. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. Happy to make a video on that. And that's really the process, guys. That's what I'm looking to do. I haven't made any concrete decisions yet. I'm doing a heap of research, but if you like this type of content, let me know. Happy to make more videos on this. And if you've got any specific questions, like I said a few times, just comment below. Happy to answer them. Always here to help you guys out. Now, of course, Vietnam isn't the only frontier market that I'm looking at. I'll do some videos in the future on other markets that I think are great for investors or property developers because Southeast Asia as a region itself is just really promising. It's an exciting place for me to look at. And I'm all about finding those opportunities. So if you like that kind of stuff, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next one.